Why, hello, everyone! Thank you for joining me again on Adventures on a Tabletop. Join me as we play some of my favorite games and go on some of the most fantastic adventures. And today is no exception because we are going to play Eldritch Horror. It's the board game of global mystery and horror, designed by Corey Konetska and Nikki Valens. It's similar to many aspects to Arkham Horror, an older game, but this one's more broad and it's more mainstream than that one was. We play as investigators spanning the globe trying to defeat an ancient one. By doing that, we're going to have to go to some of the most remote areas on this globe and fight some of the most nightmarish creatures that lurk in the shadow. We have to try to solve some of their mysteries and find out what's going on within this eldritch horror. Welcome to Eldritch Horror. Today we're going to be fighting the Ancient One, Azadoth. And we're going to be using Lily Chen, the martial artist. She starts up here in Shanghai. And we're going to be using Skids O'Toole, the ex-convict, who starts in Buenos Aires. This is the first gate we have open. It's in San Francisco, and we have a ghoul who is defending the gate. And we have a clue that was spawned at Space 17. As for the initial setup, the only thing we needed to do for this ancient one is we need to place one Eldritch token on the green space of the Omen track, which I have already done so. So we need to actually start by getting one of his mysteries. It says the Nemesis moon appears in the night sky, visible to all, and the heralding an imminent doom. When an investigator closes a gate that corresponds to the current omen, he may spend one clue to place one Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to half the investigators, solve this mystery. So, since we're playing a two-player game, we only really need one Eldritch token on here to solve this mystery. So let's begin the action phase. We'll start with Lily Chen. We're going to try to do an acquiring assets action because we want to get this lantern. It's pretty good so far. Lily Chen has an influence of 2, therefore she's rolling 2 dice. And we did not get any successes. Well, she could take a debt condition if she really wanted that, but instead she's just going to forget it and travel to Space 17. Well, as for Skids O'Toole, he's going to prepare for travel and take a boat ticket. And then he's going to do a travel action to get to Space 7, and then immediately turn in that boat ticket he took and move up to San Francisco. So that's all the actions we could do, so let's move on to the encounter phase. And again, we'll start with Lily Chen. Lily Chen's going to try to do a research encounter. So she's on a city space, so she's going to read this top one. A noted astronomer has made claims that the end times predicted by the stars are drawing nearer. After studying his notes, you come to the same conclusion. Gain this clue and place one Eldritch token on the green space of the Omen track. So let's take her clue. And we have to place another token on the green space of the Omen track. Going back to Skids O'Toole, so before he can do his encounter here, he actually has to fight that ghoul. So we're going to fight the ghoul. So we're going to first do our will test, and it's given us +1, and we need 1 to not lose any sanity. So Skids O'Toole, he has a willpower 3, but the +1 gives him 4. And he got his 1 success, so he's fine. So moving on to the strength test, we need 2 successes to not take any wounds, and he has a toughness of 1. And it says if we lose 80 health from the strength test, we get a paranoia condition. Skids O'Toole has a strength of 4, but he's carrying an axe, so he actually gets +2 to his strength. And if he wanted to, he could spend 2 sanity to reroll as many dice as he wanted during the strength test during the combat encounter. Okay, here's 6 dice. And he got no successes, unfortunately. So he's going to lose 2 sanity and re-roll all these dice because he doesn't want to get a paranoia condition. Okay, perfect. So he got his 2 successes, so he's not going to take any wounds, and he has enough to defeat the ghoul. So after defeating the ghoul, Skid's O'Toole could actually stop there if he wanted to, but instead he's going to go and do the otherworldly encounter. He's going to try to close that gate. So let's take one of these cards. You discover a series of large blue objects with discs attached by metal rods. You believe the Migo transmit information using these discs and try to learn what you can about the Yugoth. So we need to test our lore -1. So unfortunately that's going to leave Skid's O'Toole with just 1 die. And he fails, of course. So since he failed this test up here, he now actually has to read this one down here. A man named Taylor will teach you how to use the discs if you help him find Hulk. You may gain an agreement condition to close this gate. If you do not gain the condition, he uses Azoth's true name against you, lose 2 sanity, and gain an amnesia condition. So I'm going to go ahead and do the agreement condition because, well, I don't want an amnesia condition, and I don't want to lose 2 more sanity. I'm already down 2 from that ghoul. So let's go ahead and get an agreement condition and close the gate. Okay, so we got an agreement condition now. So as a local action, we could test our influence -1. So he only has 1, so he still doesn't affect him. If we pass, we spend two clues, and then we can actually discard this card. Otherwise, whenever the reckoning happens, if we roll a 1 or a 2, we have to flip this over. So that could be really, really nasty. So if we get 2 clues, we might try to work on that. So we got the gate closed, and this actually is matching the current omen, but we don't have any clue tokens, so therefore we can't place it on the active mystery to solve it. So nevertheless, it's still closed. We'll just have to wait for another one to open up. So both encounters are done, so let's move directly on to the Mythos phase. So the first thing we have to do is we have to spawn a clue token, and this one is directing us over to Space 8, right near Arkham. And not even jokingly, but we also have to do a rumor on Space 8. That's actually kind of funny. I literally just drew one out of the bag, and it was Space 8. Now this one is also Space 8. So we're going to place this token right here. And we're going to put 4 Eldritch tokens on this card, because it's indicated right here. And let's see what type of rumor this is. You dream of a life as an insane wizard thousands of years ago in Atlantis. You also dream of the same wizard still alive today on an uncharted island. So as an encounter as an investigator on Space 8, may attempt to find the uncharted isle. You test your observation. If they pass, you may spend clues equal to half the investigators to solve this rumor. When there are no Eldritch tokens on this card, each investigator loses 3 sanity then you solve this rumor. So during the reckoning, the lead investigator gains a madness condition, then discards 1 Eldritch token from this card for each madness condition he has. Right now, Lily Chen is the lead investigator. But that one's not too bad. It's just actually quite funny that it turned out on Space 8 was the same spot as the clue. So I'm just going to go and stick this right here with the 4 Eldritch tokens. And that's actually not a bad rumor. I've seen much worse ones. And Space 8's right over here, so it's not too far from Skid's O'Toole. Okay, and we're back to the action phase again. So let's go ahead and start with Lily Chen again. So Lily Chen, she's going to try to acquire assets again. She's still rolling only 2 dice. And she still did not get it, so no lantern for her. And then she's going to do a travel action. She's going to move down here. So, as for Skid's O'Toole, he's going to first prepare for travel in San Francisco and take a boat ticket, and then he's going to do a travel action to Space 7, and then immediately turn in the boat ticket and move to Space 8. Encounter time! So now we're going to do just a generic city because she's not really on anything else. A shady figure offers to sell you a weapon, no questions asked. You speak with him to determine his motives. Test my influence. 1. So we're going to go ahead and use this Lucky Rabbit's Foot. It's once per round. She may re-roll one die when resolving a test. So we're going to just flip this over. And she's going to re-roll this. So she still failed. She can't get a lantern. She can't determine motives. She can't do anything. If you fail, the undercover policeman arrests you. Gain a detained condition. This has not been a good day for Lily Chen. So moving on to Skids O'Toole, he's going to go ahead and try to do that research encounter. So he's on a sea space, so we're going to read this one. You search the night sky for cosmic omens. Test your observation -1. So with Skids O'Toole, that leaves him with 2 dice. And he passes. You see bizarre constructs floating high in the air. Gain this clue. So he gave the clue. Now if we stay in the spot, the next encounter we could try to do that rumor. And it's Mythos time. So the first thing we have to do is move the omen to the next space on the track. So we move it to the blue space. So there's no gates open, so we don't have to check to see if the doom track moves down. Now we have to do the reckoning. So first we would check if we have any monsters that have any reckoning, but we don't have anything on the map. And then we check the Ancient One, so he doesn't have any reckoning effects either. Then we move on to Mythos cards. So this is the only one we have, and it says the lead investigator gains a madness condition, then discards 1 Eldritch token from this card for each madness condition that they have. Lily Chen is the lead investigator, so I gave her a amnesia condition. Next, we would check any items that we have that have reckoning, which we don't. And then the final one is conditions, which we have that agreement. So we have to roll 1 die. If it's a 1 or 2, we have to flip this card over. Okay, so he's fine. Going back to Lily Chen, that condition she just picked up, we have to do the reckoning on that as well. So she has to test her willpower. If she fails, we flip the card over. She has willpower of 3. Okay, so she's fine. Now we need to open up a gate. And the gate is going to Shanghai. And a cultist is coming out at the gate. So after that's all said and done, now we still have to resolve the remainder of the Mythos card. Ever since you arrived here, you felt the call of the other world. An entire land of wonders awaits you just past the threshold, and you find yourself unable to resist the temptation any longer. Each investigator on a space containing a gate tests your lore test your willpower -2. If he fails, he gains a lost in time and space condition. So neither one of my investigators is on a gate space, so this has no effect on us at all. And we are back to the action phase. As for Lily Chen, the only thing she can do is to test the local action on this one. If she passes her influence, she gets rid of her detained condition. And her influence has not worked well for her yet, so here's to hoping. Oh, she passed. So she's no longer detained. So she has 1 action left. She's going to do a travel action and move up to the heart of Africa. For Skids O'Toole, he's better off just sitting in that spot because he wants to try to solve that Mythos card. So he's going to do a focus action and a rest action. So the focus action is going to give him 1 focus token, and the rest action is going to restore 1 health and 1 sanity. But he hasn't lost any health, so he gets 1 sanity back though. Moving on to encounters. So Lily Chen, she's going to try to do this expedition. And she takes this card. The old Nabangu's man's map to the gray city of the white god relies on landmarks that are now overgrown by the dense jungle. You search carefully to recognize anything familiar. Lily Chen is testing her observation, and she passed. You find the remains of a white ape and study the bones. Now she needs to test her lore, which is also 2. She passed. You find a hastily drawn map that leads to a hidden treasure. Gain 1 artifact. Let's see what's in store for Lily Chen. She finds the key to Carcosa. Very useful item. Once per round, you may spend 1 sanity to reroll any number of dice when resolving a test. Very, very useful. The expedition token's not going to move because the next card happened to be the same exact space. Schizo Tool was going to try to work on that Mythos card, so he needed to test his observation. His observation is 3, and he passed. So he's going to spend the clue that he picked up last round and put it on that card so that way it solves this rumor. So that was both encounters. Let's move on to the Mythos phase. And we have to resolve this one. So the Omen track's going to move to the next space. And this gate is actually matching the Omen track, so the Doom track's going to move down by 1. We have to do the Reckoning again. So this cultist has a Reckoning symbol, but the cultist information on the Ancient One doesn't have any Reckoning effect, so nothing happens. So there's no other monsters, the Ancient One doesn't have anything, we have no Mythos cards that need Reckoning, no items, so let's directly move on to conditions, and we'll start with the Amnesia condition from Lily Chen. She passed. Now let's roll a die for his agreement. He's fine. Now we have to open up a new gate. The new gate is a green gate at Istanbul, and we have a goat spawn coming out. Once you see the sign, you begin to notice it everywhere. It is hidden in paintings and subtly woven into upholstery. The lead investigator loses all of his sanity unless the investigators as a group spend 2 clues. This sanity loss cannot be prevented. Well, that's some more bad news for Miss Lily Chen because we only have 1 clue token. Because we spent the one in the encounter phase to solve the rumor, so we only have 1. Therefore, Lily Chen loses all of her sanity, and that makes her go insane. So the Doom track's going to go down by 1, and she's now insane. Things can't get much worse for Lily Chen, but we have Trish Scarborough coming in to replace her. She's going to start in space 16, and she's going to start with a 45 automatic. Well, that was a pretty nasty Mythos turn, so moving on to the action phase. Starting with Trish, we're going to have her do an acquiring assets action. Her influence is 3, and she gets 1. And she's going to take the lantern. The same lantern that Lily Chen could never get. So once per round, you may roll 1 additional die when resolving a test. And now we have an Arcane Tome that came out in the reserve. For her second action, she's going to do an action on her sheet, which says if any time she doesn't have any clues, she can get 1 clue. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Schizo 2 is going to travel, and then do a focus action. Moving on to the encounter phase, she's on a city space, so she'll do a generic city. The shop is robbed while you are browsing. You attempt to fend off the thieves. Test your strength. Two successes. If you pass, the store owner is very gracious. Gain 1 item asset from the reserve, or 1 random item asset from the deck. I think we're going to chance the random item from the reserve, because this stuff is crap. And we got some whiskey. You may discard this card to prevent an investigator in your space from losing up to 2 sanity. Skids is also in the city, so he will be doing a generic city as well. A night of drinking and good cheers helps raise your spirits, recover 2 sanity. He only needed 1. While you were celebrating, you hardly noticed that you were being robbed. I wonder if it's the same people that robbed the store. Test your observation. Schizo Tool has an observation of 3. And he passed. There's no other effect, so he's done. Mythos time. So we have to move this 1 space. There are no blue gates out, so the Doom track's not going to move. Now we have to do a monster surge. There's no blue gates open, so what we actually have to do is open up another gate. The night one's going down under. And another cultist comes out. And finally, we have to spawn another clue. This one's Space 15. Now, most shops are not supplying the basic necessities that you need for your travels. And those that do charge an exorbitant amount of money. And more specialized prices of equipment are well beyond an average person's means. Ongoing, the value of each asset in the reserve is increased by 2. Whenever we get a reckoning effect, this will actually go away. Not too bad. Action turn. Trish is going to do a travel action, and then she's going to focus. Skids is going to prepare for travel, and then immediately travel and turn in the boat ticket and move to space 2. Moving on to the encounter, Trish is going to fight the goat spawn. Let's do the will test first. She needs 1 success. She has a willpower of 2, and she passed. The strength is -2, but she has her 45 automatic, which gives her +3. So she's actually just +1. She needs 2 successes with the toughness of 2. So 4 dice all together. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That's more than enough. That's overkill. It also reads, if you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, you may gain a Dark Pact condition to discard 1 monster from any space. Well, we're not going to do that for cultists, so yeah, we're just not going to do it. So she is going to do an encounter now, but she's not going to do the gate, because she wants to wait until next turn when it actually matches the omen, and then try to close it then, to try to solve the mystery. So instead, she'll try to do Insta-Bowl. A secret group of scholars has taken an interest in you. Improve your influence. We'll mark this with a +1. They show you a shocking ancient text written by Theodorus Pilatus regarding his translation in the Necronomicon. His words deeply disturb you. Test your willpower. She has a willpower of 2. Oh, she failed. Well, we're going to go ahead and use the lantern right now and roll 1 additional die. No luck. So now we're going to use the focus token and re-roll that die. So she got 1 success. So if she would have failed, she would have lost 2 sanity, but she got her 1 success. And Skids is in the sea, so he will do a generic sea space. Thugs interrogate you about a passenger who is hiding. Test your willpower -1. Fail. He's going to use the focus token that he has. Pass. You say nothing and an unintended victim joins you. Gain 1 character unique asset. We found Professor Rice. When you gain this card from the deck, gain 1 relic unique asset. After resolving an expedition encounter or a Mystic's Ruin encounter, gain a clue. And we got a stone tablet. It's time to move the omen again. Now we have a monster surge, which is right over there. We're going to have to bring out another monster for Miss Trish to fight. And a mummy came out, but when this mummy is spawned, move it to the pyramids, directly below her. Now we need to spawn a clue, which it indicated that it needs to go over here. Against all odds, your food is being poisoned, your correspondents are being intercepted, your transportation is being sabotaged. The constant attacks, real and imagined, are taking a terrible toll on you. When this card enters play, each investigator loses 2 health unless he spends 1 focus. Then each investigator loses 2 sanity unless he spends 1 clue. Well, Skids has a focus token, so he's going to get rid of that one. Trish does not. Trish, however, does have a clue token, so she's going to get rid of that and keep her sanity. Skids does not, so he's going to lose the 2 sanity. This is another ongoing, so we're going to stick it right over here. As for the actions, Trish is going to get a clue, because she doesn't have any now. And she's going to focus. Skids is going to move over here to Tokyo. And he's going to do a rest action. He still hasn't lost any health, but he's going to restore 1 sanity. And since he did a rest action, he can do his stone tablet now. He needs to test his lore -1, which leaves him with one die. And he passed. The tablet tells of a way to manipulate portals between worlds. You study this method in depth, hoping to understand a way to close the doors to other worlds and secure the safety of the Earth. Resolve one of the effect of your choice. He can get 1 clue, then flip this card, or you may spend 2 clues to discard 1 gate of your choice on any space, then discard this card. So we're going to go ahead and just do the gain 1 clue and flip the card over. Well, we have no monsters, so now let's move on to the encounter, and let's try to close that gate. It's the city of the Great Race. You are horrified to realize that the body you are inhabiting in this world is not your own. The shock of seeing yourself in an alien conical shell threatens to shatter your mind. Test your willpower. She's going to go ahead and use the lantern, so she's going to roll 3 dice instead of her 2. She passed. You steel yourself against the horror of this alien body and try to recall the knowledge necessary to build a device that will return you to your body. Test your lore. Well, this unfortunately leaves us with 1 die. Ooh, she failed. Let's go ahead and use that focus token she got. She failed. The machine malfunctions. Lose 2 health. We had no luck closing the gate, so let's move on to Skids O'Toole. He's going to go ahead and do his Tokyo encounter. Your hotel room is being haunted by a Yuri. You are terrified as a white-clad woman howls and passes through you. Test your willpower. He has a willpower of 3. Pass. And nothing else happens. Let's just see how much worse things can get. Spawn a clue. On space 21, we need to place a rumor token on the pyramids. It is going to need 2 Eldritch tokens. Humanity's final hour is at hand, and your only hope lies in the convincing the messenger of the gods to grant you more time. You pray that he will find your offerings and sacrifices to be sufficient. As an encounter, an investigator on the pyramids may offer the messenger information about his enemies in exchange for assistance. If you pass your influence test, you may spend clues equal to half the investigators to solve this rumor. When there are no Eldritch tokens left on this, investigators lose the game. Oh my goodness. And that's how badly things get for you. So now we have to decide if it's worth going down here to try to work on that one, or should I stay up here and try to do the gate, because it's still in the current omen, and if I can close it right now, it will solve the mystery for us. I think we're probably going to stay right here, because while we have 2 Eldritch tokens on that card, so I have a little bit of time, not much though. So Trish, she's going to do a focus action, and she's going to do a rest action. And she's going to get back 1 health, and she doesn't have any sanity, so that's all she gets. Skids is going to do a focus action, and then he's going to move to Shanghai. Let's see if we have better luck closing the gate this turn. We have found Lost Carcosa. A strange-looking man named Wild offers to repair your reputation in exchange for information. You may spend 1 clue to resolve the pass effect. If you do not spend the clue, resolve the fail effect. Well, if we spend that clue, it'll likely close that gate, but then I'm not going to be able to solve the mystery, because I have no other clue to put on the mystery, so let's not give him the clue. After turning down the offer, you find yourself the target of a smear campaign engineered by Wild. You are certain that you command enough respect to resist his efforts. Test my influence, -1. She has influence 3. And now we have 2 successes. Well, we have no negative effect, but the gate stays open. Skids is going to fight this cultist and then try to close that gate. This cultist information is right here, so he has to test his willpower with 1 success. All 3 successes. After resolving the will test, lose 1 health and defeat this monster. Loses 1 health and the cultist is gone. And let's try to close the gate. Lost Carcosa, a different one. Inside a well-appointed library, you sit down for a game of chess. Your opponent is quite old and wrapped in a silken robe. It will take a sharp mind to win the game. I think we're in trouble here. Test your lore -1. You passed, surprisingly. As you win, your opponent vanishes and a door appears. Close this gate. Before leaving, you examine the library books. Observation -1. Pass. I wish Trish could roll as well as he could. You find a book about the future. Gain 2 clues. So he closed the gate, and we gained 2 additional clues. Mythos. Time to move the omen to the next space. We don't have any blue gates, so the doom track doesn't move. Now we have to do the reckoning. Well, we don't have 80 monsters that have any reckoning, so we'll skip that. But we have quite a few Mythos cards over here, so let's start with this one. Discard 1 Eldritch token from this card unless the lead investigator gains a Dark Pact condition. I'm actually not going to take that because it needs to test your influence, and she's right next to it, so I think I'm going to press my luck and hopefully she can pass her influence test. This one just goes away. Then we have each investigator may spend 1 focus and 1 clue to gain 2 task unique assets and discard 1 of them, then discard the card. We're not going to do that. I'm not worried about unique task assets, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of the card. I'm not worried about that one. Let's roll for Skid's agreement. He's fine. Another gate appears at Buenos Aires, and a warlock comes out. You wake up in mid-scream and your heart is racing. What little you can remember of your nightmare was so visceral and horrific and that you dread falling back asleep. Each investigator loses 2 sanity and gains a madness condition unless he spends 1 clue. Yeah, we have more than enough clues, so we're going to go ahead and just discard those 2. Well, it's pretty obvious what Trish must do. She's going to go and do her action and get a clue, and then move down to the pyramids. I think our best chance at solving this mystery now is to try to get to Sydney before the red omen comes up. So he's going to prepare for travel by taking a boat ticket, traveling to Space 20, and then moving to Sydney. Before we can do that Mythos card, we first have to fight this mummy. Let's do the will check. She needs 2 successes, rolling 2 dice. She failed. So she's going to use that whiskey to negate the 2 sanity she's about to lose. Now she's going to do a strength test, -2, with 2 successes is what she needs. She still gets 4 dice from her 45 automatic. She passed. And the mummy has been defeated. Now she can work on the Mythos card. As an encounter, an investigator on the pyramids may offer the messenger information about enemies in exchange for assistance. She's going to test her influence. She has influence 4, and she's going to use that lantern, so she's going to be rolling 5 dice. She passed. Now she only has to spend clues equal to half of the investigator, so therefore she only has to spend 1. And the rumor has been solved. Skids is going to go ahead and fight this cultist over here. He's going to test his willpower. He passed. So we already know that he passed and he's going to lose 1 health and defeat the monster. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're not going to go and try to close that gate now. Instead, we're going to do a Sydney encounter. You dream of crossing a vast desert haunted by an enormous winged creature. In the dream, you turn to face your fears. Test your willpower. Pass. You wake up feeling more alive than ever and prove your strength. Now for the Mythos card, let's go ahead and move this to the next Omen track. Now for the Reckoning, we have that Warlock over here. Roll 1 die. On a 1 or 2, the nearest investigator gets a cursed condition. She's fine. Now the only one we have left is the Agreement from Skids O'Toole, and he's fine. A gate is opened up at London, and out came Color Out of Space, but fortunately that one's gonna move over here when it gets spawned. You drop a penny into a peculiar mechanical device. The automaton waves its hand and turns over a card bearing the words, "Good luck is with you." The lead investigator may move the Omen to a space of his choice on the Omen track without advancing Doom. And I think we're going to keep it just where it's at, just because it's a little bit easier for Skids to close that gate because he's standing directly on a red gate. Okay, action phase. Trish is going to do a rest action and then travel down here. Skids is also going to do rest action, which allows him to do his stone tablet again by testing his lore, and he passed. So we still have the option to gain 1 clue, then flip this card, or I could spend 2 clues to discard 1 gate, which if I spend those 2 clues to discard the gate, I'm not going to have enough to solve the mystery. So we're going to go ahead and just gain a clue and flip this card over. And his second action, he's going to focus. We're going to do the special encounter for Lily Chen, and we're going to do this one because she lost the game because she went insane. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. You barely recognize the small woman huddled in the alleyway. Her few belongings scattered next to her, gained all of her possessions. She did have quite a few good items, so we're going to take all of these. I have no destiny. I cannot fight the darkness. You reassure her that she has already done her part, and the others will finish the task. We need to test our influence. Pass. So passing that allows us to retreat the Doom by 1. And now Lily Chen is out of the game for good. And of course for Skids, he's going to try to do this gate. Unknown Kadath. You are in the Onk's Castle of the Great Ones. A large man dressed as a pharaoh tells you the gods have all gone, but he can return you home. Resolve the pass effect to decline his offer, or resolve the fail effect to accept. Well, let's go and do the pass effect. You search the castle, observation -1. Pass. You discover the Great Ones left you a gift and a way home. Gain 1 relic, unique asset, and close the gate. And we're closing the gate. And we also got a stone chest from that encounter. So now we have enough to solve this mystery, but we actually don't check it until the end of the Mythos phase. So if everything else goes okay, we should be fine. So first, let's go ahead and adjust this one. And we have 2 blue gates open, so therefore this is going to move down 2 spaces. We have the monster surge, so both gates are going to come out with 1 monster. London gets a ghoul. Buenos Aires gets a cultist. The last thing we do is spawn a clue over here in Space 5, or Omaha, if you want to call it that, wherever it's at. To everyone else, it is simply an unimpressive curiosity, but you know that it's special. You know that it's the most important thing to ever happen to you, and now that you have it, you'll never let it go again. The lead investigator gains 1 asset of his choice from the reserve. Then he loses sanity equal to its value. Well, I suppose out of everything that we could take here, this one would probably be the most useful, but I really don't think I want it. I'm actually probably going to just take the fine clothes. So anytime I do an acquiring assets, every 6 I get counts as 2 successes. And it's only a cost of 2, so I'll lose 2 sanity for that one. But I think I'm okay with that one. We're going to replace it with the Elder Sign. We now have the Green Flame. In response to the cult's invocation, a jet of green flame emerged from the fissure, racing across the ceiling and walls as if a living thing. When this card enters play, spawn the Tolzacha epic monster on a random space. At the end of the Mythos phase, if the Tolzacha epic monster has been defeated, solve this mystery. So, determining the random space, it was found that it's going to be over here in Istanbul. We could have Trish go up there and try to fight that epic monster, but I believe I might save it just for Skids. He's a little bit more powerful than she is, and I might just have her work on this clue right over here. So she's going to do a rest action, and then she's going to do a travel action and move down here. Skids is going to prepare for travel and take a boat ticket, travel up to space 20, and then turn the ticket in and move to space 17. So he can't get the epic monster in this round, but his next turn he should be fine. Trish is standing on a research encounter, so she'll go ahead and do that. And she's on a city space. The maestro possesses the original libretto for the notorious opera. You sneak backstage during the intermission and steal it. Gain the Massa di Requiem per Shuge artifact. You search the pages for the knowledge you seek. So we need to test the observation -2. Still leaves her with 2 dice. She failed, so we're going to go and re-roll that with the Lucky Rabbit's Foot that she acquired from Lily. She still failed. Well, let's go ahead and try the Key to Carcosa. I'm going to spend 1 sanity to re-roll any number of dice, so let's re-roll both of these. Okay, now we're good. She passed. Was it worth it? You gained this clue. So we have this artifact. As an action, you test your lore -1. If you pass, you may spend 1 sanity to discard 1 monster in a space of your choice containing a gate. So actually that's quite useful, I suppose. At the cost of more sanity loss. Skids will do a generic city. You wander through the aisles of an antique bookstore. Although many extremely rare books can be found here, the organizational system is almost impossible to decipher. Let's test our lore -1. 1 die for you. He failed. Let's go ahead and use one of our focus tokens. Let's go ahead and use the other one. We're able to track down a hidden gem, gain 1 tome artifact. The first one we drew out in the artifact for tome was the King in Yellow. Gain +2 to all skills if you have a blight condition. During the Reckoning, you get the blight condition, so that's actually very, very useful. Time for the Mythos phase. Let's go ahead and adjust this, move it to the next space on the Omen track. And we're back on that green space, so that means the Doom track is going to move 2 more spaces. Now we have the Reckoning, and I believe the only one we have is that Warlock. Okay, we're fine. Let's start doing some of the items. So let's do the artifact I just picked up. I roll 1 die. On a 1, I have to advance the Doom by 1. I got exactly 1. So that means the Doom's going to advance 1 more space to the right. As for Skids, he has just his King in Yellow, the one we just picked up. And I'm going to get the Blight condition, which I've taken. Let's roll for his agreement condition. He's fine. And Rome gets a gate with a cultist. It was so much worse than you thought. The ancient creatures had not just established a presence here, it had infected every aspect of the city down to its roots. Spawn 1 monster on each space containing a gate that corresponds to the current omen. Which, unfortunately for us, is only Istanbul, which normally would be fine, but since we have that epic monster there, that's now 1 more creature we have to fight. And it's a buy a key. Well, these gates are getting out of control. Trish is going to do a prepare for travel, taking a boat ticket, traveling to space 11, and then moving to Buenos Aires. Skids is going to do a focus action, and then move up here to Istanbul. So this appears it's going to be a combat-heavy round. Let's go ahead and start with the Warlock for Trish. And we have the will test of 1. She takes 1 sanity loss. The Warlock also says if we lost the will test, we also lose a health. So let's do that. Now let's do the strength test with -1. She has 5 dice. She has 1 hit. That's enough to pass the test and enough to kill the warlock. Moving on to the cultist. So let's do the will test against the cultist. And she should have actually had an extra die against that warlock because she picked up the protective amulet, but I'm not going to worry about adjusting that. We're going to just keep it as it is. She failed that one. She loses another sanity, and she's going to lose 1 health and defeat the cultist. Now, we could be risque and decide to try to close this gate, but I think I'm actually going to stop my encounter there just because she's at 1 sanity and I don't wish to press my luck any further. Now, Skid's O'Toole is going to do some combat, but he has +2 to all of his skills because he has a blight condition now and he has the King in Yellow artifact. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Bayaki. I need 1 success, and he's going to roll 5 dice. Oh yeah, I definitely got it. Wow, that's amazing. Now let's move on to his strength test. It's going to be 2 successes with toughness of 2. And he is rolling 9 dice now with his axe and his King in Yellow. Oh yeah, he definitely beat him. He's definitely gone. So we defeated the Bayeki. It says, if you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, you may lose 1 sanity and move 3 spaces. We're not going to do that because we wanted to move there. Now let's fight the epic monster. So we have will -1, 3 successes, and strength -1 with 3. Toughness is equal to investigators +2. So really it only has 4 hits and we can kill it. We could be able to pull this off, hopefully. So let's start with the will test. -1, he's still rolling 4 dice. He has 2 successes, he needed 3, so he'll lose 1 sanity. Alright, now we're rolling 8 dice with the axe against the epic monster. We could kill it, we just need 4. Oh yeah, we definitely got him. That epic monster is defeated. So as long as nothing happens during the Mythos phase that resurrects this thing by any means, we would have defeated this mystery, and then we'll move on to the last one, and hopefully we can win this game. Now that all the monsters have been cleared off that, we could do an encounter, but we're not going to. We're just going to just end his turn right there. Time to move the Omen to the next space on the track, the blue space. We have 2 blue gates open, so it's going to move 2 spaces to the right. We're at 5, so it's getting close, but we still have a little bit of breathing room. We have to do the Reckoning now for this card, and all we have for Trish is this one. We have to roll the die again. You're kidding me. That's the second time we've gotten that 1. So Doom's going to advance by 1 more space now. Next item we have is this one. You can't get another blight condition, so this one's going to be negated. Nothing happens. So moving on to conditions, let's go ahead and do the blight condition. We have to flip the card over. And we have a Fiendish Gaze. For an instant, you see evil in your friend's eyes. Resolve 1 of the effect of your choice. Gain 1 madness condition, then flip this card. Lose 3 sanity and impair your observation and your willpower, then discard this card. Oh. Well, I think we're going to just take a madness condition and flip the card over. Now let's resolve that agreement. We're fine. A gate has opened at Arkham, and out comes a ghost. These sudden thunderstorms have grown more common. Twice a day, rain that smells like seawater floods the streets, and cold winds that cut like glass threaten to pull doors off these hinges. Each investigator rolls 1 die. On a 1 or 2, he moves to space 8 and becomes delayed. So let's roll for Trish first. She's fine. And Skids. He's fine. We have solved the active mystery by defeating this one. So we have 2 down. We need 1 more mystery to win. We have the seed of the Daemon Sultan. A strange green comet has fallen from the sky. Even after the impact, the meteorite continues to slowly burrow itself deeper into the earth. When this card enters play, place the mysterious token on Tagunska. As an encounter, an investigator on Tagunska may attempt to search for signs on the impact in the dead forest, testing your observation. If they pass, he discovers a strange green meteorite. He may spend 2 clues to place 1 Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to half of the investigators, solve this mystery. So here's the mystery token. We might actually be able to win my next round. Skids has 2 clue tokens, and he is able to move there his next turn, so we might be able to pull this off, actually. So Trish, of course, she needs to rest. She's dangerously low on her sanity. So 1 health, 1 sanity. Then she's going to do a focus action. Schizotua is going to prepare for travel, taking a train ticket this time, doing a travel action up to space 16, and then using the ticket to move over here. Starting with Trish, she's going to go and try to close the gate this time. The past. Through the slits in the closet door, you see yourself as a small child sitting up in bed. "Who's there?" asked a frightened voice. You try to calmly persuade your younger self that you're a friend. Observe your influence -1. Pass. The child calms down, but eyes you suspiciously. "Listen carefully to what I say," you tell yourself. "It might save your life." You may become delayed to gain 2 clues. Whether you become delayed or not, close the gate. I'm going to choose not to become delayed. I don't really need the clues because she can get them so easily. So we're not going to do that. We'll just close the gate. Before we can actually do anything with that active mystery, we actually have to defeat the color from out of space. This one can be a tricky monster. So first we're going to do his will test. 5 dice. He passed. Now we actually don't do a strength test right now. After resolving the will test, we just roll 1 die. If we get a 5 or a 6, we defeat the monster. Rolling 1 die. Do we get it? Yes! We have a 6. He is defeated. Now we can continue on to the mystery by testing our observation in the forest. One, 2, 3 successes, which we only needed 1. So we beat that one. He's going to spend his 2 clues to place 1 Eldritch token on that active mystery. Alright, so as long as nothing happens during the Mythos phase, we won the game. Let's move the Omen to the next space on the track. That's 2 red gates open, so 2 spaces to the right. Now let's do the Reckoning effect on the Masade Requiem per Sagshuge. And we did not advance Doom, thank goodness. Now we have to try for the King in Yellow. Still, we can't get another blight condition, so we ignore it. Moving on to the Agreement. Oh, we actually have to flip it over now. The time has come for the Agreement. It's a dark contract. The contract didn't seem half bad when you decided to sign. I don't even remember what we signed up for, I've already forgotten. But now, reading the fine print, you see you were a fool to think it was a fair trade. Gain a Dark Pact condition, then roll 1 die. On a 1, flip your Dark Pact condition, then discard this card. Well, let's roll for the Dark Pact condition. I will be the first to tell you that those Dark Pact conditions are one of the worst conditions you can get. 6, okay, we're fine. The last thing I have to roll for is my amnesia. I need to test my willpower. And we failed. But we're going to use a focus token to re-roll that. Still failed. Unexplained debts. According to the paperwork written in your own hand, you took out a loan and made unspecified promises of repayment. To your dismay, there is no sign of money of what you could have spent it on. Gain a debt condition, then discard this card. I do have to flip my blight condition. And it's the same choice as before. I'm going to go and get a madness condition again. Probably the amnesia again. A gate has opened up at Tokyo, and a Ligor thing came out of Tokyo. Finally, across the globe, headlines announce terrors that threaten to engulf humanity. Individuals everywhere take action against these horrors and assist those who have already been fighting the Ancient One. The world fights back, so each investigator may do one of the following. You may recover 2 health, 2 sanity, or discard 1 monster from his space. I guess at this point it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Nothing else has affected the final mystery, so I'm not going to really worry about resolving this one. So with that being said, here was our 1 Eldritch token we had on here, which is all we needed to solve 3 mysteries to win the game. We have defeated Azeroth. Well, thank you for watching that. I really hope you enjoyed it. I can't praise Eldritch enough. This game is absolute fantastic. It plays really well with almost any number of players. It's easy to get into. It's thematic. The game's a lot of fun. You really feel like you're going on an adventure. You're embarking on a quest to try to defeat an Ancient One. Absolute fantastic game. Well, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for some of my other videos, and let's go on another adventure again.